with untold stories, Africa's best.
Our vision in this interim government is to make ABC a leader.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice.
Hey, we make a miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. We make a miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here, touching every heart. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, healing every heart. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, turning lives around. I worship you, I worship you. You are here.
Thank you very much, our sister. God, you open our eyes. We worship you. We adore you. We glorify you. Thank you, Father. Ladies and gentlemen, today is the 26th day of September 2023. And as I told you, the days are fast dying down to hours, and hours are dying down to minutes, and minutes are dying down to seconds. And these seconds are taking us straight to the events that are going to happen. We have a twin event that's going to happen this weekend and the early beginning of next week. That is on the 30th and also on the 1st of September 30th and October 1st, 2023. These events are very, very significant in the history of Ambazonia. And before I read you the excerpt from the tale of two nations, I want to make this very important announcement. And the announcement is, right now, all roads lead to Berlin in Germany on the 30th of September 2023. Remember, 30th of September 2023 is the United Nations Southern Cameroon's Day. A lot of people don't understand what that means, but the significance of that day is that it was on that day that what we are going through is happening today. It was a fateful day. FATEFUL. That is, fate happened on us. And this fate was a misfortune. And it has been telling on us. And we cannot forget that the massacre of our people that we are experiencing in this 21st century is as a result of either by omission or because the people knew that they put us into this terrible situation. When Britain, upon departure from the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, handed over the instruments of our independence to a wrong person, and that mistake is costing us a lot to correct it. But I remember that God told the children of Israel that when you shall be strong, you shall regain what is yours. And I believe that that is very applicable to us Ambazonians. And that's why we are looking forward to celebrating this 30th of September with pomp and pageantry. It's going to be a very powerful day. And I want to encourage all Ambazonians at home and abroad to make it a memorial day. We also shall join in prayers, and we shall be doing our best to make sure that we do that which we are supposed to do. That is one. Then on the 1st of October is going to be a day that must be remembered. And this time around, we are not only going to depend on our defense forces at home front, that's the Ambazonian Restoration Forces, but we are going to also show the world and around the globe that we are not just a mistake. We are a people and we have a right, and that United Nations gave us this right when they made a certain resolution, which is found in their charter, of which I'm going to be reading to you very soon, that these people, of course, karma is beginning to tell on them. They thought that by undermining and trampling on their foot, those they thought that had nothing and were nothing, they are surprised in these last days, because the time of God has come. And the time of God is always a very perfect time. And so, Ambazonians, what our forefathers have suffered and the rest of Africa had suffered, it is time for payback. And no imperialist will escape the wrath of God that has begun to unveil. This generation is a generation of no return. It's a no-nonsense generation, and will not take a no for an answer, will not done with the kind of tricks that the Europeans and the West had played on Africa before. That's why there is, people call it rioting, but I don't call it rioting. I'm calling it a reawakening, because the Ambazonian people have arisen to take back their rights. It's not a rebellion. No. Neither is it a coup d'etat, because the whites from the West have been playing a very fast coup d'etat on us, and it was bite and blue. Well, they take some tyrants and put them there. They change constitution, change the rule of law at will and at any time. But in their own countries, they can't do it. So they felt we are underdogs. But we have arisen to tell the world that we are not underdogs. We are human beings created in the image of God, have our rights. And the inferiority complex they try to put on some blacks and some Africans who chilled in, the time has come that there is no nonsense. The blood that flows with them is the same blood that flows in us. And so on the 1st of October, there is going to be the celebration and announcement of the independence of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, which was formerly called Southern Cameroons, that has been restored. And we are going to come out to let the people know, to let the world know. Even though La Republique is trying to cover it, it's just like using the palm of your hands to cover the sun. or taking an umbrella to cover that the sun should not shine. What a joke. And that's what has been happening. But we have decided that it is not going to be business as usual. And so wherever you are, look for the nearest post where Ambazonians are going to gather and then celebrate their anniversary. Do you know that our neighbors, La République du Cameroon, they have never, and they are not willing, and they are not ready to celebrate their so-called fictitious independence, because they are not independent. If they were independent, they would have been as proud as Ambazonians are proud to actually celebrate their independence. But they are not. And so we are going to celebrate our independence, even though in the midst of genocide, we have won our brothers and our sisters at the home front, not to there, because these people, their plan is not those who are defending the land with ammunition like they have. Their plan is to destroy everybody that speaks English. And that is what they have been out to do. Well, we have pointed fingers enough to the international community. I saw the outgoing whether Commonwealth person from La République Cameroon actually saying that they cannot give us anything. So we must take it by ourselves. And I've heard some people in the name of God Almighty telling us to fold our hands, let them kill us, destroy us, and then God will do it. Okay, sir, that's your take. I agree with you. But I totally will not sit down quiet. I must tell the truth. And if the enemy comes in, Goliath will rise up and take off his head. So don't come and tantalize me and make me to feel guilty, and as making so many people to feel guilty when they stand for the truth. So when you don't want to say the truth, you pretend to be neutral. And as far as God is concerned, you are either on God's side or you're on the side of the devil. But it depends on how you take it. All right, let's climb down from there. Those of you who have not gotten ready to go to Berlin, and you are in Europe, you are in Britain, you are in Belgium, and all around those places, remember, the Ambazonians are gathering in Europe, in Berlin, to celebrate this twin day. And don't be left out. Be part of the history. In other parts of the world, though there is a fight in the country in South America, where La Republic thinks that they can, just climb down on anybody like they are doing to the Ambazonians in their land in Africa. They think they can play it in other countries. But I want to tell you, the other countries who have read the history of Ambazonia and have heard and seen the oppression of France through La République du Cameroon, oppressing their neighbors, these British Southern Cameroonians, who actually now are the Ambazonians. They have risen up to say, no, we must support the freedom of Ambazonia. And so they must march. And so they must celebrate their birth and their Independence Day. And that's why we're going to be celebrating it, not only in America, North America, South America, but we're celebrating it around the world. I know that the refugees who are in different parts of Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, all over the place, they will be celebrating this 1st of October because that is their identity. And please, if you are indifferent, well, that's good for you. But support those who are going out there to march. Support them in every way you can. Is it buying a gift to give to a foreigner, which is symbolic of Ambazonia? Please go ahead and support that cause. I, for one, when you support the cause, will not put your name out there. We know you are afraid, and we know you are standing in between two opinions, disputing. If this one fail, I will go here. If this one fail, so I cannot be out there. Well, I agree with you. But let me tell you, those who are fearful don't have any much to do as far as God is concerned. God wants people who are bold, people who know their rights, people who stand for themselves and can do what they are supposed to do. Those are the kind of people God actually is waiting and looking for. All right, this musical pause before we get into the crux of the matter for today, part 4 of the, how do you call it? Part 4 of the Tale of Two Nations. And as I told you, this is what La Republique does not want to hear. The Tale of Two Nations. But guess what? Whether they like it or not, is coming out. And the people of Amazonia and the people of the world, they must know that there were two nations that were told by the United Nations to come together and live together and be able to live as a nation, and then get ready and do what they can do. And these two nations is what we are talking about. But before we get there, let's get this musical pause, and we will be right back with the Tale of Two Nations. Just stay put, and let's invite Reverend Sama, who is always available to tell us he knows your name.
And you know my name. I give you glory. Abba Father, you know me. You know my name. Abba Father, you know me. You know my name. Abba Father, you know me. You know my name. You know my name, oh Daddy. I can see your hand in my life. Lord, I see your love upon me. Every time I look around, now you are the see. Every time I turn around, now you are the view. I dey hear your voice in my heart. Lord, I feel your love over me. Every time I look around.
Thank you very much, Reverend. God is on our side, and every time you turn around, you can hear him calling your name. The Tale of Two Nations. I'm going to go ahead and read the article. Will not be very long today. I will just make you to understand. Number 9, distinction of two states by United Nations Resolutions 1608, Chapter 5, at the United Nations General Assembly of April 1961. This resolution had 3 main items. A, halt of trusteeship relationships with Britain. B, give Southern Cameroon's independence on a given date, 1st October 1961. Yes, by joining, maybe, but it gave independence nonetheless. I hope you understand that statement. Whether by joining or whatever, they had decided that the independence was going to be on the 1st of October. And on that 1st of October, they came up with a trick by joining, but we got the independence. Clarified, number 3, that's C, clarified the type of treaty and the form of the union between Southern Cameroons and La République du Cameroon. Treaty and form of union. A United Federal Republic of Cameroons. The plural for the two Cameroons, La République du Cameroon and the Southern Cameroons. And of course, we saw the symbolic representation of the two stars when this was done. La République has put those things out of view, thinking that they can also wipe out the archives. I don't know whether spiritually or whatever, but unfortunately, it didn't work. The debate on the resolution 1608, Article 5, at the United Nations General Assembly on the 21st of April 1961, the draft resolution was proposed by India, Iya Japar and Krishna Menon, Chairman, 14th United Nations General Assembly. Lambertine Dina, Indonesia, Chairman of the Southern Cameroons, item 13 and 14. Adan Patches, Iraq, Vice Chairman. Miss Sylvia Shelton, Villaline, Cuba. Jabba Abdo, Iran. Plebiscite Commissioner, sitting with consultative status, conducted the session. Resolution 1608, drafted by the team of Mr. Stavropoulos, was accepted by acclamation and put to vote in 3 stages with the following results. 1. Termination of trusteeship agreement for the Southern Cameroons. 50 yes votes, 6 no votes, 2 is. Give them independence on a given date. 50 yes votes, 6 no votes, 12 absentees. The third, the type of treaty and the form of the union between the Southern Cameroons and La République du Cameroon, treaty and form of union, United Federal Republic owns. The plural for the two Cameroons, La République du Cameroon and Cameroon, Southern Cameroons, make it 2. And 50 yes votes, 12 no votes, 6 absentees. Now, if you listen very attentively, you will discover that 50 was always topping the yes. United Nations Resolution 1608 of April 21, 1961 gave the independence to Southern British Cameroon by vote as follows. 64 voted for the independence, 23 voted against, and 10 abstained. Interestingly, France and La République du Cameroon voted against the Southern British Cameroon joining La République du Cameroon. Can you imagine that? They voted against. And Ambazonians, this history is found in the archives of the United Nations General Assembly archives. I always tell you this. that if this world is not demonized, if this world is not wicked, why will people not respect their history? To Anglophones, our Francophone brothers did not want us. That's what somebody is commenting now. Northern British Cameroons was not given the same option of independence as Southern Cameroon by the United Nations. Though both cases were treated on the same day in the same United Nations resolution. The United Nations Resolution 1608, Article 5, on the joining of the two Cameroons underlined a self-governing system for Southern Cameroons with the preservation of their socio-cultural, educational, legal, and other heritage. Two equal peoples with their individual constitutions, it required the two Cameroons to meet, dialogue, and determine the terms by which they will live together and sign a treaty of union ratified by their individual parliaments, which would be registered at the United Nations to serve as a marriage certificate and guidelines or guidance in the case of problems. Was this done? Let's see how it was to be done and how it was purportedly done. Number 10, the Foumban conference, how it took place. Care of La Duperie du Foumban. Duperie du Foumban. Having just been elected president by the members of the Assemblée Législative du Cameroun, ALCAM, in May 1960, after the missed elections of 10th April 1960, and lacking the legitimacy of a universal suffrage, leaned on the French to reinforce his position and play international politics with Southern Cameroons. The Foumban Conference of 1721st of July 1961 was convened to draw up a charter for the ensuring two states federation. But the proposals brought by Southern Cameroons were rejected as the United Nations and Britain, who were expected to arbitrate and ensure impartiality and fairness, were absent, and France was unexpectedly present. Was it a game? Was it juju that was working? Or was it what was really going on? All right, let's go on. Southern Cameroon's politicians insisted on this concerning the coming together. A, the mention indivisible was not to be included in the constitution of the country. B, the federation was not to be changed to another form of government. C, the natural resources of Southern Cameroons were to be exploited by them within the federation, not by France or any other. D, the France La République Cooperation Accords was not to influence Southern Cameroons. Number 11, violation. Violations of the United Nations General Assembly Resolution 1608 and the Federal Constitution of the Cameroons, creating a state of illegality of the federal government of Cameroon. Article 1, Chapter 1. The name of the country was not Cameroons, plural, in violation of United Nations General Assembly Resolution 1608. Article 19 of the Federal Constitution offered Southern Cameroonians the right to Cameroonian citizenship if and only if Southern Cameroons became a federated state with La République du Cameroon. C. Article 5, subsection 16. The borders between the federated states maintained. D. Article 9, subsection 1. The president and vice shall not be from the same federated state. If one is from East, the other should come from the West Cameroon. Thus, 1 and 2, personality is from each state. Point number E. Article 9, subsection 3. President and vice president cannot hold any other post. F. Article 10, subsection 3. The vice president takes over when there is a presidential vacancy. G. Article 38, subsection 1. Each federated state had its constitution and run their judiciary. H. Article 47, subsection 1. Stated inter alia that no bill to amend the constitution may be introduced if it tends to impair the unity and integrity of the federation. Thus, federation was a permanent state. E. Article 59. The French text of the Constitution is the only authoritative version. Well, this was the articles that were found in the Constitution that these two nations were drawing up. I will stop here for today, and when I come next, I'm going to start with Article 12, and we will go on from there. So, Ambazonians, we are in a precarious situation. We are in a very serious situation, and we cannot fold our hands and sit down quiet and wait, believing that bread will be coming from heaven. It is not possible. When God created man with an already made garden, he put man in the garden and told the man to work. So man from the beginning was to work before you eat. And today the Bible is very clear that anybody who will not work should not eat. And that's why you find even lazy people, they try to steal or they tell lies, which to them is work. Because if you just sit down quiet without stealing, without telling lies, without doing the normal work that you're supposed to do, you will not be able to eat. And so in whatever situation people are fulfilling that commandment of God that if you don't work, you should not eat. I was telling Ambazonians in my announcements, I'm telling the world that even though we have had a lot of torture, but this torture that we have had from La République Cameroon, and we must fight the torture till we are out of it. I heard some people saying that we should just fold our hands and let them kill us, and then God's time is going to come. I laugh at that, I don't want to call it stupidity. I don't know whether it's a brainwash. And I was trying to educate some people to let them know that the situation of Ambazonia is attracting and causing alarm just because of the social media. The countries that we are fighting and rushing to go did go through what Ambazonia is going through. Some are still going through. And it started more than 23 years, 24 years before Ambazonia. I've heard so many people from Ambazonia trying to run to South Africa, but they forget to know that Mandela was locked up in prison for 27 years, meaning that for 27 years, South Africa was in a turmoil. And there were killings going on like they are going on in Ambazonia today. But some people are saying that we need to chicken out. There was confusion in South Africa too, like it is today in Ambazonia. And the confusion in South Africa were the few white people who convinced the blacks who were fighting for their rights to look at those who were standing to go and take over to be the perpetrators of evil. Just like we have a few Ambazonians, some of them, their origin and their nationality as Ambazonians is very, very doubtful. The public has found them very worthy group of people to bribe them to cause confusion in the Ambazonian quest. And we are seeing it working. I want to tell Ambazonians that as a historian, this is not strange. Just like I tell people, the way I see what is happening in the church today, I just laugh because I've seen real church and I've seen fake. And today, I want to tell even the spiritual world that 3/4 of the church, what we call church today, is fake. Why? Because we allow the devil to infiltrate the church by promising us what he cannot give us. Have you seen so many people telling you of miracles? Some of them actually go to the devil. I listened to a certain lady in Kenya who is telling us the story of life is spiritual. If you go into YouTube, just go and click life is spiritual. She didn't mention the names, but she was telling us how some big men of God that will bow, they call themselves big shops. They say they are bishop, but I call them big shops. They actually go around to Mamiwata, to the devil, because they know that the devil gained control in this life when Adam and Eve handed over to the devil. But they forget to know that Jesus Christ handed over to the church when he came and took authority. He handed over to the church. And when he handed over to the church, he expected the church to take total authority and to do that which only the church can do in this world. And when he did that, a lot of people did not still understand. Why did they not understand? They did not understand because of the time that they have been born in. So I tell a lot of preachers, young preachers, I tell them, when I see them, I laugh. And I tell them that what you people are doing today, you came and met when the church has backslided. So this is not the church that I saw revival. And when you saw revival at that time, you will know that God is in the midst of the people. What do I mean? It was not the theology that was preached, neither the sound gospel that was preached. It was the character, the practice that was at that time. You find somebody's 1 million, you'll be looking for the person to give to the person. Not that the person is looking for the money and you are hiding. Today, people who do sacrifices, who do human trafficking, who sell in drugs, they are the ones that are sponsoring the church. And why will the church talk against such ills of drug and human trafficking? The so-called pastor will not talk against it. So also, in our society today, because of technology, we are seeing the atrocity La Republic is committing on us. And we are thinking that the end of the world has come. But you needed to see what happened in South Africa. You need to see what happened in South Sudan. You need to see how the Ethiopians were massacring the Eritreans, and so on and so forth. So Eritreans did not sit quiet and waited for God to come and bring salvation. But it was happening in this 21st century. All this slavery is happening in this 21st century. In fact, some of the people that have talked to me, and they are pastors in Cameroon, some of them are Ambazonian origins. They are also in a big bondage. They are crying out. And because they are crying out in silence. And they want to die in silence. And I pity such people who want to die in silence when they know the truth. Because when you speak the truth, you will die. When you don't speak the truth, you will still die. If La République was making a distinction of who to kill, I would have believed that they are sincere. But what I have discovered is that they want to make the world to believe that we are separating from them. But they cannot articulate this particular subject matter because there are effigies, there are historical facts that are found out there to prove that, truly speaking, these were two nations that came together to try to live together, like Canada is doing, like other states, America came together, and they are living together. That is what we wanted to experiment. I know that at the moment now, Ambazonia, both in size and population, both in resources, is bigger than several countries that are found in Europe. And they are coming to deceive us, to tell us that, oh, this separation and blah, 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 is because they have discovered that we have been boohoo's and we have been living like such. But I want to announce to the whole world that in this 21st century, we are not taking no for an answer. We are going in for our land. And Ambazonia has decided, and they are going in for their land. You believe it, you take it. If you don't believe it, we are going. So La République, like America told you, like many other countries have told you, and the refusal of France to continue to sponsor you, they have told you that you cannot win us in the battlefield. With all the other Ambazonians that you have corrupted and brought into your show, some of them are contractors. You've told them to continue to shout the name Ambazonia, Ambazonia. Meanwhile, they work together with you, La République. I want them to know, especially those in life, You have seen what La Republic is doing. Most of you who left the interim government and went out to form groups, we never joined La Republic as groups. We joined them as a country, and we joined them as Southern Cameroons, a nation that was ruling itself. And today, La Republic has corrupted, contracted some Ambazonians to come out and cause confusion in the interim government so that they can say we are not a country. And some people who actually fought to destroy, I do not know whether La Republique contracted them in the spirit or contracted them in the physical. They actually took up the position and title of president and the title of interim government. But immediately after some time, they decided, they themselves came out to say, don't call me president. And they started singing another song. But they still call Ambazonia. And those that advocated for the split, they suddenly got up and tried every means, unity. And they formed unity warriors and killed the best of our fighters. Now they got up again and they tried to form collaboration. And the contractors that are working with the Republic of Cameroon are actually doing their best. And the people are still dying and they are not seeing it. The day they forced Field Marshal of Lobialem to come out and declare that Marianta was her president, that was the end of him. The day they told FM No Pity to come out and tell the people that the interim government was not supporting him, that was the end. The day they told Nambere to come out and declare that the interim government was whatever he mentioned them to be, thank God he managed to escape. And today he's telling the story of what he had experienced. And some of the members of the interim government who became real armed robbers, money given to them to send to the boys fighting on the ground, they took the money, established their businesses. Some of them called themselves pastors, men of God, bishops, archbishops, assistant angels, and all sorts of names. I saw Christianity and I saw who was for God. Ladies and gentlemen, it is at this juncture that I want to tell those of you who have seen the death of some of these violent fighters in these recent times to tell you, you were sold in Canada and your patrons, they will tell you, go and collect material, go and collect money. The same scenario that your predecessors, like Ivo, like Ayeke, died, you still come up like RK has died, Bitakola has died, in the same way. And these people who make speeches will be the same first people to come out and make speeches. Ambazonians, the coverage that is in your spirit, only Jesus can deliver you. I've told you, your master is demonic. Go closer to him. You will hear Manyanga smelling out of him. Modern day. In Europe, people rub perfume, but you still see Munyanga, hear Munyanga, smell Munyanga. And they have when they eat it and they talk, you believe them. Well, I'll stop here so far. We are talking about the tale of two nations and La Republique, things that they have infiltrated us so well to take us out. But it is a lie. Well, it is at this juncture, I'll call it quit for today. God bless you as you reason and take sense, especially those who are fighting. Get back to your LGA, get back to your local government, get back to your county. You will be saved. God bless you. Reverend, come in.
Now you are the pillow